northern shore of Lake Ontario, north of the 49th parallel in Toronto, Canada. Our setting, Woodbine Racetrack, one of the finest horse racing facilities in the world. And tonight, this new course for action presents the closing chapter of the 1995 Cadillac Breeders' Crown. Well, it may be early November, but it is already bitter cold in Canada. Temperatures expected to be near the freezing level. There is a hint of flurries in the forecast. Woodbine Racetrack, the only racetrack in North America which has the capacity to present thoroughbred racing in the afternoon, a complete program of harness racing under the lights. And we're getting set for the 3-year-old filly Trot in the Cadillac Breeders' Crown, and the story of this upcoming race, Victory. But which victory will it be?
Well, of course, Stanley Dancer hopes it's going to be Lifelong Victory. Per Erickson hopes it's going to be Lookout Victory. And then, of course, you've got another entry that includes Back to Victory.
All right, let's take a look at the conditions for this race coming up at Woodbine Racetrack. Once again, a 3-year-old filly Trot. It will be 1 mile at this oval, and the purse $446,900.
And it's going to be important, Bruce, to see who gets out and gets that early lead, because again, they're not going to be coming from off the pace tonight.
And here's a look at the field and the current odds, led by number 1, Miss Kitty B at 13-1. Back to Victory won the New Jersey Sire Stakes at Garden State Park. The Bluegrass at the Red Mile, 13-1. There's Lookout Victory, Gary, being held right now at 11-1.
Yeah, she tuned up last Friday night with a 159-mile under the lights here at Woodbine. Seems to have regained winning form.
And that might be an overlay right there. Number 5, Dame Catherine, Financial Page, also a long shot. Brylan Glory is 10-1. Lifelong Victory, the overwhelming favorite at 1-9.
Yeah, and another marvelous trotter from the Stanley Dancer stable. She has been flawless since returning from an injury and seemed clearly the horse to beat tonight.
So John Campbell will drive Lifelong Victory. When you talk about John Campbell, you simply talk about one of the best.
That's right. You know, Bruce, every sport has its share of superstars. It's part of what feeds the public's interest. And in harness racing, that marquee name is John Campbell. And when it comes to feeding the public's interest, no doubt John Campbell is good. In the world of harness racing, 40-year-old driver John Campbell is the Joe Montana, the Michael Jordan, the Wayne Gretzky of his profession. No one comes close to winning more money or big races than Campbell. His $137 million in career earnings is an incredible $52 million more than his nearest rival. And this year will mark the 12th time he has led all drivers in purse winnings. He has won a record $13 million races, 8 more than anyone else. And since the Breeders' Crown was inaugurated in 1984, Campbell has indeed dominated, winning a record 28 times. Does he still remember that first Breeders' Crown victory?
As a matter of fact, I do. It was Am Nearest, and it was a fluky thing. I couldn't hold her coming to the half. She was sitting in the 3-hole, and I wanted to sit to at least the 3/4, and I couldn't hold her, and I took her out, and I thought to myself, what am I doing out here? She'll never last. And she just hung tough the whole mile and wore them down in the stretch, and it was a total shock that she raced as tough as she did.
He's won the Breeders' Crown with some of the greatest horses in harness racing history. Horses like the legendary 3-time winning trotter, Mac Lobel. There was the outstanding trotting filly Peace Corps, whom Campbell drove in 2 of her record-setting 4 Breeders' Crown victories. There was 2-time winner Miss Easy, who many believe was the greatest pacing filly in history. And there have been milestone triumphs. This victory with Armbro Keepsake in the 1991 2-year-old filly Trot at Pompano Park. It made Campbell the first and only harness driver ever to reach the $100 million mark in career earnings. And if he's forced to pick the one victory, the one performance that stands out among all the rest, he goes back to the 1990 2-year-old Colt Pace at Pompano Park. What a performance that was.
Art's Place, certainly as a 2-year-old in Florida, was sensational. The weather conditions were like 30 and 40 mile an hour winds, and he just jogged around there in 51 and a piece off a huge half. I think the half was 53 and a bit, and he just kept on going, and believe it or not, he could have gone more that night.
And Campbell gives all the credit for his success to the horses.
So it doesn't matter how good a driver you are. If you don't have something to work with, you can't make things happen.
John Campbell has won this division only once in 1989 with the Grace Peace Corps. Lifelong Victory is 6 for 6 this year, 18 for 18, career in the money. The big favorite, and we'll have the race when we come back. Last year, Lookout Victory was the champion. Who will be the champion tonight in the 3-year-old filly trot? Here's a look at the current odds. Lookout Victory now is down from 11-1 to 7-2. More like it, more what we expected.
Yeah, no question about that, Bruce. She is certainly a contender here, and I think her main competition comes in the form of Lifelong Victory. Should be a battle between those two, but again, the first charge into that turn should make all the difference, I think, in this one.
And Lifelong Victory now from 1-9 to 1-2. Well, the trainer of Lifelong Victory is Stanley Dancer. He is a legend in the sport, a Hall of Famer. His racing days go way back to Roosevelt Raceway. Stanley wishes that his charge had an opportunity tonight to race against CRK Susie.
Thank God she's came back to prove it this year. She is a top filly, and that's not saying she would beat CR Susie, because although after this is over, we wouldn't mind racing her just one time to find out, but she's turned out, and our filly's at the top of her form right now, so needless to say, it'll have to stay as it was, but she just couldn't handle CR Susie.
Lifelong Victory being held right now at 1-2.
Right, Lifelong Victory again is a real contender here. Great trotting filly for Stanley Dancer, and CRK Susie, the top 3-year-old filly trotter, not here right now. She decided to take on the older trotting mares back at Delaware in September.
And she won it successfully. 1A in this group, by the way, is Back to Victory, another victory. Won the Bluegrass, won the New Jersey Steyer Stakes, and won the Kentucky Futurity, Gary, the filly division, in straight heats impressively.
That's very true, Bruce. She also came alive last year at the end of her campaign for trainer Osvaldo Formia, and obviously back in top condition.
Back to Victory being held at 8-1, part of the Lindy Farm entry right now. All right, let's talk strategy. Let's talk speed. What might unfold?
Well, again, the wind here could definitely play a factor. I think you have to leave. You have to get yourself a good early spot. It's been a little bit difficult for horses to come from behind with this kind of wind. And again, the horses that are well placed early up towards the front of the pack are going to have a big advantage here.
This is a 7/8 of a mile track. The stretch is 976 feet compared to Delaware, Ohio, which is 380 feet, so quite a difference there. Here we go, getting set for the Cadillac Breeders' Crown 3-year-old filly trot. Frank Salive, the track announcer here at Woodbine.
Now on the outside, a Lifelong Victory. Brylan Glory is going to be leaving hard. Tighter to the inside comes Miss Kitty B, and Armbro Nike is right in behind her. Yankee Spirit is spotted behind the early speed, just ahead of Lookout Victory. Then Back to Victory, and the last pair, Dame Catherine. Armbro Natural is 10th and last into the first turn, and sent through for command on the inside was Ms. Kitty B. Getting the worst of it, parked 3 deep, was Brylan Glory. Financial Page is at the wheel of the leader, and Armbro Nike is into the pocket. There's Lifelong Victory, 4th on the outside. 28-2 was the first fraction. Unsettled at almost all positions as they turn into the backstretch. Financial Page on the outside. Miss Kitty B on the inside. Armbro Nike is 3rd. Lifelong Victory 4th. And Campbell is pulling the trigger 3 wide there with her. Looking to take over on the way to the half. Brylan Glory parked out 5th. Here comes Lookout Victory between Trotters and 6th. The inside 7th for Yankee Spirit. Then Back to Victory. Dame Catherine. Armbro Natural trailing. Financial Page took over. Now taking over from her is Lifelong Victory for Campbell. 57-4 the halftime. A wild charge on the way to the last turn. And here comes Lookout Victory on the outside. Lookout Victory overtaking Lifelong Victory on the way to the last turn. Armbro Nike is up and driving 3rd. Financial Page is 4th. Brylan Glory is 5th. Ms. Kitty B, a hard used 6th. And then it's back to Victory. Dame Catherine, Armbro Natural. Locked in tight as Yankee Spirit at the back. The 3/4 in 1:27, and Lookout Victory looking for 2 in a row in the Breeders' Crown. Less than 1/8 of a mile to go. Badly beaten, and back in 3rd, fading is Lifelong Victory. But Lookout Victory, 2 in a row in 2 consecutive years here at Woodbine, winning the Cadillac Breeders' Crown. This one by a big margin over Financial Page. Armbro Natural comes from 10th to be 3rd, but it is Lookout Victory in 1:57-3.
So trainer Per Erickson does it again. Lookout Victory wins the Cadillac Breeders' Crown. This 3-year-old bay filly by Valley Victory out of the Joie de Vie mare, Higher Love, owned by Ollie Levin, bred by Brittany Farms. That's George Siegel of Chicago, driven to victory by Sonny Patterson.
That's right, and Sonny Patterson, indeed a master of driving trotters, proved it right there. Very, very patient, made the move after Brylan, Glory, and Lookout Victory and Lifelong Victory battled it out, and was just perfect timing by Sonny Patterson. Here you see him turning down into the stretch. By this point, Bruce, it's all over, just cruising on the front end, and again, waited for that battle to develop and then fizzle out, and he came on to take the lead with his filly, and it was all open to the finish.
Well, Lookout Victory was disappointing at Lexington. This is her first start since October 6th at the Red Mile, but tonight she was game. Lookout Victory. Per Erickson has his 7th Breeders' Crown. This was the cheapest of the 4 Valley Victory offspring in the field, a $40,000 yearling purchase. She won consecutive heats in the World Trotting Derby Filly Division, won the elimination and the final of the Hambletonian Oaks, a division of the historic at the Meadowlands, second in the Kentucky Futurity Filly Division. This first-generation crown champion, remember, Sire Valley Victory, Grandsire Baltic Speed, and now consecutive Breeders' Crown titles for Lookout Victory. Ollie Levin from Malmo, Sweden, who has owned horses in his native country for 15 years and now comes through once again with a big victory. Let's go to Gary Seibel.
Right now, standing by with winning driver John Sonny Patterson Jr. And Sonny, that was a great drive. You saw the cavalry charge going into the first turn. You kind of laid off the early pace and made that big move. Tell us what happened there.
Well, like I say, there was a cavalry charge, and I got away following Lifelong Victory, which seemed to be a pretty good spot at the time. But then when she made the front, then I had to drive on, and my filly just wanted to race her. And
we're going to take a look at the winning move now. Of course, Lifelong Victory and Brylan Glory got hooked up in a battle there. Finally, Lifelong Victory cleared. But here you come now, charging up on the outside, seeing that Lifelong Victory had taken command. Did you think that maybe she was used up pretty hard there?
Yeah. My filly felt real strong, and the other filly was taken up a little bit.
So no problem getting around Lifelong Victory. You knew that she was kind of out of gas at this point.
Yeah, well, we had a little trouble because of the turn, but other than that, it was okay.
Did you want her to get a little closer inside there? It looks like you drifted a bit on the turn.
We crossed over as soon as we cleared John, so naturally you want to be in on a turn.
How is she feeling right there? She's opening up with every stride.
Oh, she's feeling fine here, coasting.
What kind of filly is she? With all the great trotters you've driven, tell us what kind of filly she is.
Well, she's got that great determination and special character. She's special in my opinion.
All right, John Patterson Jr., congratulations on your Breeders' Crown victory tonight. Right now, we're going to head back to Bruce Beck.
And Gary, the last filly to win the 2- and 3-year-old filly Breeders' Crown Trot, the Great Peace Corps in 1988 and 1989. We'll be back. Welcome back to Woodbine Racetrack in Toronto, and after a little bit of a delay, the race is now official, and Lookout Victory is the winner, returning 10-20, 5-30, and 470. Financial Page, a long shot for second, 23-10 and 10-10. Armbro Natural, 36.90 to show the exacta, a big one, over $300. Back to Gary Seibel.
All right, Bruce, it is indeed a cold but happy winner's circle setting right now. And just to my left is Jeannie Simmons, the advertising manager of General Motors of Canada, who's going to make the presentation to the owner of Lookout Victory. It is Ollie Levin of Malmo, Sweden. Jeannie?
Thanks, Gary. Cadillac has long been held as a symbol of prestige and elegance. Cadillac has long been held as a symbol of prestige and elegance, and I think it's typified by the trophy you see here this evening. And on behalf of Cadillac and the Cadillac dealers of both Canada and the United States, it's my pleasure to present the Cadillac trophy to Mr. and Mrs. Levin this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Levin, tell us about this filly of yours. She's splendid. She's been on the board now in 16 of 17 starts. Tell us your thoughts about her.
It's impossible. I can't do it. I can't tell anyone what I'm feeling.
Obviously, you're feeling very good, though, aren't you?
I feel very, very good. And I'm standing here for the second year in 2 years races. I mean, she win the last year and she win this year as well. I mean, that's absolutely fantastic.
Well, I'm glad you're happy. We're all happy here in the winner's circle, and best of luck in the future with Lookout Victory. She's a fine filly.
Here's the complete order of finish for the 3-year-old filly Trot. It was Lookout Victory, Financial Page, and Armbro Natural in the money. Lifelong Victory finished 7th, and Miss Kitty B finished 10th.